Every month, forgotten wheel guns are skyrocketing in value, and ordinary people are waking up to find they let thousands slip away. The real question is, are you about to make the same mistake before another hidden treasure leaves your hands? Let's break down the 20 revolvers exploding in value right now, starting with a gun that flew under the radar for decades, only to quietly become one of the fastest climbers in today's market. Number 20. The Webley Mark VI 455. Few revolvers carry as much history in their steel as the Webley Mark VI, issued to British troops in World War I and still seen in the early years of World War II. This top-break design was built for rugged trench warfare. Chambered in 455 Webley, it featured a massive frame, 6-round cylinder, and the distinctive break-open action that ejected all casings at once. With a mechanical snap, soldiers never forgot. For decades, surplus examples floated around at bargain prices, often under $200. Those days are gone. Clean, unaltered wartime models are now pushing between $675 and $1,000, with verified provenance climbing even higher. Once overlooked as old surplus, the Mark VI has finally earned its collector spotlight. And if you think that's impressive, wait until you see the next revolver, one that police once dismissed as ordinary, but collectors are now fighting to secure. Number 19. The Smith & Wesson Model 625 in 45 ACP. Born from the lineage of the Model 1917 revolvers, the Model 625 brought moon clips back into the modern age. Chambered in 45 ACP, it gave shooters the fast reload of a semi-automatic with the durability of an in-frame revolver. Introduced in the late 1980s and refined through special runs like the mountain gun, the 625 became a favorite of competition shooters who valued its accuracy and rapid reloads. For years, you could snag one for under $1,000, but those days are fading. Today, clean examples sell in the $1,100 to $1,200 range, and boxed performance center versions demand more. And if that feels strong, the next revolver is an old-school Colt snub that's quietly becoming a gold mine. Number 18. The Smith & Wesson Model 25.5 in 45 Colt. The Model 25.5 represents a golden era of Smith & Wesson craftsmanship, built during the pinned and recessed days when quality was king. Chambered in the classic 45 Colt, these revolvers often featured long 6 or 8-inch barrels that delivered serious accuracy and power. Collectors love them for their smooth actions, deep blue finishes, and the connection to one of America's most iconic cartridges. For years, shooters overlooked the 25.5 because 45 Colt wasn't as flashy as 357 or 44 Magnum. That's changed. Today, used examples run $1,100 to $1,300, while boxed nickel versions or scarce barrel links pull even higher premiums. But the next revolver isn't about size or power, it's about prestige, and it wants to find the 357 Magnum itself. Number 17. The Smith & Wesson Model 27. When the registered Magnum of the 1930s set the bar for 357 power, the Model 27 carried that legacy into the modern era. Built on the large in-frame, it delivered both power and elegance. Often finished in a rich blue with checkered walnut grips, lawmen and collectors admired its durability, while shooters respected its accuracy and balance. For years, these revolvers could be found as affordable workhorses, but clean 27.2s and uncommon barrel lengths are now collector magnets. Auction results hover around $700, while pristine retail examples push $900 and beyond. With values climbing steadily, the 27 has secured its place as a cornerstone 357. Number 16, the Smith & Wesson Model 57 in .41 Magnum. Introduced in 1964, the Model 57 was Smith & Wesson's answer to shooters who wanted something between the .357 and the mighty .44 Magnum. Built on the large N frame, it was beautifully finished in blue and nickel and came with adjustable sights. While the .41 Magnum never achieved the popularity of other calibers, enthusiasts valued its flat shooting performance and power. Early production guns, especially 4-inch nickel examples, have become highly sought after. In today's market, used prices range from $400 on the low end to $1,000 for well-kept pieces, while new or mint-in-box examples can easily top $1,200. With limited numbers and growing recognition, the Model 57 is steadily climbing into the collector's spotlight. Number 15, the Smith & Wesson Model 58 in .41 Magnum. The Model 58 was introduced alongside the Model 57 in 1964, but its role was very different. Designed as a duty revolver for police use, it featured fixed sights, a heavy barrel, and a no-nonsense blued or nickel finish. Chambered in .41 Magnum, it offered serious stopping power, but never quite caught on with departments due to the recoil and cost of ammunition. For decades, these revolvers languished as overlooked service guns. Today, collectors are rediscovering them, especially in high condition with original grips and finish intact. Average used examples now sell for around $1,000 to $1,100, while clean nickel models often command $850 to $900 and continue to rise. Number 14, the Ruger Speed 6. Introduced in the mid-1970s, the Ruger Speed 6 was built as a rugged, no-frills revolver for law enforcement and military contracts. Chambered most often in .357 Magnum, it featured a fixed sight design and a rounded butt frame that made it easier to conceal compared to its Security 6 sibling. The revolver earned a reputation for toughness, finding service not only with American police, but also with international agencies, including the U.S. Postal Service and foreign security forces. Collectors today prize snub-nose and double-action-only versions, which are harder to find. While standard models hover around $600 to $650, rare configurations are beginning to climb well past that. Once considered a simple duty gun, the Speed 6 is now firmly on the rise. Number 13, the Ruger Security 6. As Ruger's first double-action revolver line, the Security 6 made its debut in 1972 and quickly became a favorite among law enforcement and civilian shooters. Built to handle the pressure of .357 Magnum loads, it was over-engineered for strength, yet priced lower than many competitors, making it a practical choice at the time. Offered in barrel lengths from 2.75 to 6 inches and available in both blued and stainless steel, it became a staple sidearm through the 1970s and 1980s. For years, these revolvers were inexpensive on the used market, often ignored as just another service revolver. Today, that perception has changed. Prices now range from $500 to $600 with stainless or shorter barrel variants, bringing premiums at auction. Number 12, the Ruger Red Hawk. Introduced in 1979, the Ruger Red Hawk was built to handle heavy Magnum loads without compromise. Known for its massive frame and robust construction, it quickly earned a reputation as one of the toughest double-action revolvers ever made. While the .44 Magnum versions were most common, the rare .41 Magnum models have become particularly desirable among collectors. Barrel options range from 5.5 to 7.5 inches, and its stainless or blued finishes gave it a rugged appeal that still resonates today. For years, used Red Hawks were easy to find for under $600, but those days are long gone. In today's market, clean examples trade between $750 and $1,150, depending on caliber and condition, with early production guns climbing even higher. Number 11, the Colt Single Action Army, first generation. Few revolvers are as iconic As the Colt single-action army first introduced in 1873, it became the sidearm of cowboys, outlaws, and lawmen across the American West. Known as the Peacemaker, its timeless design and connection to frontier history make it one of the most collectible firearms in existence. First-generation models, produced until 1941, are especially prized. Prices vary dramatically. Honest, well-used examples can still start in the lower thousands, while engraved or high-condition pieces soar into six figures. Auction houses regularly highlight them as centerpiece items, with some breaking records in late 2024. More than just a revolver, the SAA remains a symbol of Americana, and demand for early examples has never been stronger. Number 10, the Smith & Wesson 44 Hand Ejector First Model Triple Lock. Introduced in 1908, the triple lock earned its nickname from a third locking point on the crane, giving the revolver unmatched strength and precision for its time. Chambered in .44 Special, it quickly became a favorite among target shooters and handgun enthusiasts who valued accuracy and craftsmanship. The revolver featured finely blued finishes, checkered walnut grips, and a solid heft that spoke to its quality. Despite being discontinued in 1915, it laid the foundation for future in-frame revolvers. For decades, triple locks were overlooked as old designs, but collectors now recognize their rarity and historical significance. Today, values start around $1,300, with catalog estimates often ranging up to $2,500 or more for clean, original examples. Number 9, the Smith & Wesson K22 family. Target shooters of the mid-20th century knew the K22 as the gold standard in .22 revolvers. Pre-war outdoorsman models and the post-war Model 17 carried a reputation for precision, reliability, and refined craftsmanship. Built on the K-frame, these revolvers offered adjustable sights, crisp triggers, and accuracy that made them favorites at the range and in competition. They also served as excellent training guns, providing the same feel as larger caliber Smith & Wessons, but with the economy of .22 long-range ammunition. For years, these revolvers were common on the used market, but collectors have started to drive up demand, especially for boxed examples with period-correct grips. Prices today generally run between $650 and $900, depending on condition and originality. Number 8, the Merwin Hulbert 4440. Among 19th century revolvers, few stand out like the Merwin Hulbert. Produced in the late 1800s, it featured a unique twist and pull action that allowed the shooter to extract spent casings while leaving live rounds in place. Chambered in popular calibers like .4440, these revolvers combined clever engineering with sleek styling, making them favorites of frontiersmen and lawmen of the era. For decades, Merwin Hulberts were forgotten oddities, overshadowed by Colts and Smith & Wessons. But rarity has changed that. With limited surviving numbers and unmistakable design, collectors are paying serious money. A nickel-plated .44 sold for $3,120 at auction in 2024, while more basic examples still fetch $950 to $1,200 and continue to rise. Number 7, the Colt Detective Special. Introduced in 1927, the Colt Detective Special was the first production snub-nose revolver with a 6-shot cylinder, instantly becoming the sidearm of choice for detectives, police officers, and plainclothes agents. Chambered in .38 Special with a compact 2-inch barrel, it balanced concealability with firepower in a way no revolver had before. Over the decades, the Detective Special went through several cosmetic and mechanical changes, but its reputation as a classic concealed carry revolver never wavered. Collectors today chase early high-condition examples, especially those with factory wood grips, original boxes, and matching serials. Values typically run between $800 and $1,200, but pristine boxed versions can climb well beyond that. Once an everyday tool, it's now a piece of Colt history. Number 6, the Freedom Arms Model 83 and .454 Casole. When it comes to raw power in a revolver, few names carry the same respect as Freedom Arms. The Model 83, chambered in .454 Casull, was introduced in the 1980s and immediately set the standard for strength and precision. Built with tight tolerances and superb machining, it was designed to handle one of the most powerful handgun cartridges ever developed. Hunters and handgun enthusiasts valued it for its durability and accuracy, making it a trusted companion for big game hunting. For years, these revolvers were niche tools, but collectors are now chasing them for their craftsmanship and limited production. Prices in 2024 ranged from $1,200 to $1,800, with recent hammer sales pushing close to $1,900 for clean examples. The Dan Wesson Pistol Pack in .357 Magnum. Few revolvers offer the versatility and collector appeal of the Dan Wesson Pistol Pack. Introduced in the 1970s, these sets came with a single revolver frame and multiple interchangeable barrels, usually ranging from 2.5 inches to 8 inches. The design allowed shooters to swap barrels with a simple tool, giving one revolver the ability to perform like several different guns. Known for superb accuracy and durable construction, Dan Wesson revolvers became popular with competition shooters and handgun hunters. To date, complete pistol packs with original cases, tools, and documentation are especially sought after. While shooter-grade sets average around $1,850 to $1,900, mint condition examples or rare barrel configurations command significantly higher prices and are steadily climbing. Number 4. The Smith & Wesson Model 29 in .44 Magnum. Immortalized by Clint Eastwood in the Dirty Harry films, the Model 29 is one of the most recognizable revolvers ever made. Introduced in the 1950s, it was built on the large N frame and chambered in .44 Magnum, a cartridge that gave it unmatched power at the time. The revolver's deep blue finish, checkered walnut grips, and intimidating profile made it an instant icon. For years after its Hollywood fame, demand skyrocketed, pushing prices high, before eventually leveling off. Now collectors are once again driving values upward, especially for early production 29.2s and rare barrel lengths. Average used examples hover around $1,100 to $1,200, while pristine boxed versions or special editions bring considerably more at auction. Number 3. The Smith & Wesson .357 Registered Magnum. Launched in 1935, the .357 Registered Magnum was the first revolver built specifically for the new .357 Magnum cartridge, a groundbreaking development in handgun power. Each revolver was made to order, with buyers able to select barrel length, sights, grips, and finishes, making every example unique. They were shipped with registration certificates, which only adds to their collector mystique today. Built on the robust N frame, these revolvers showcased S&W's finest craftsmanship, with deep polished bluing and hand-fitted parts. Because of their limited production and bespoke nature, they've become some of the most highly prized pre-war revolvers. Current auction estimates typically range from $9,500 to $14,000, and exceptional examples with documentation can sell well above that. Number 2. The Colt Anaconda. Introduced in 1990, the Colt Anaconda was Colt's entry into the large-frame .44 Magnum market. Built with a massive frame, full under-lug barrel, and satin stainless finish, it stood out as one of the most modern-looking Colt revolvers of its era. Though overshadowed by the Python during its production run, the Anaconda has gained serious collector attention in recent years. Discontinued in 2003 and reintroduced decades later, the originals are especially desirable. Collectors seek 6- and 8-inch barrel versions with factory grips and boxes, and early roll-marked models command premiums. What once sold for under $800 now often brings $1,600 to $2,000, with mint condition or rare trims reaching higher. The Anaconda is finally getting the respect it deserves. Number 1. The Colt Python. When collectors talk about the king of double-action revolvers, The Colt Python always comes up first. Introduced in 1955, it was hand-fitted by Colt master gunsmiths and quickly earned a reputation as the Rolls-Royce of revolvers. Built on Colt's large I-frame, the Python featured a vent rear barrel, full underlug, and an action so smooth it became legendary among shooters. The deep royal blue finish of the early models is unmatched, with nickel and stainless steel versions equally admired. Prices have skyrocketed in recent years, especially for 1970s and 1980s production. Typical examples now bring $3,500 to $6,000, while rare barrel links and pristine boxed models soar much higher. At a 2024 auction, one short barrel Python realized $8,225, proving the market's strength. Check out our next video, where we unveil the most valuable revolvers to collect in 2025.